All right, so welcome to another episode of Powerhouse Conversations, brought to you by Dream Big Sports, where we bring on powerful guests to have dope conversations about the sports industry and how we can innovate in the sports industry. Today, we have a special episode about minorities in baseball. So we have minority baseball prospects on. I'll let them introduce themselves, and we can go from there.
I started off Alexander White, CEO, founder of Minority Baseball Prospects.
Yeah, Reggie Hollins, President, COO of Minority Baseball Prospects.
Jarrell Calhoun, Regional Director, State of Alabama, President of Community Relations of Minority Baseball Prospects.
Cool, cool. So I'll start off with Alex. What brought this what brought this to fruition? Like what made you start this?
Man, if you in Atlanta, man, you know a little something about Redan High School, man, and Redan really is the mecca of black baseball of any high school in the country. Dealing with blacks, man, and just having kids drafted and signed with colleges, man. So I first started this journey. Um, I was the first black head coach at Griffin High School. And when I was at Griffin my first year, man, I was blessed to start this, having players just get drafted, man. My first year, I was the youngest head coach in Griffin, man. I had the number 10 pick overall in the draft in 2015, Cornelius Randolph. And then moving and having my second year, having another kid drafted, Therese Fuller. And then, I started thinking, hey, what else more can I do? And I started going to conventions and doing different things and just seeing different people in the game of baseball. And I met this guy named Greg Goodwin. And I was like, he was like, we was in a big time meeting with all the top scouts in the country, man. And, I'm bragging about what I got. And he said, man, you're nothing, man, if you ain't at Redan. And we the Mecca. So the first year, man, he recruited me and got me into Redan as the head coach. And, man, the rest is history, man. We lost in the state championship last year as the only black, only black team in the playoffs. And then, Redan the only black team to ever win the state championship. And then, 6 years at Redan, seven kids drafted, every kid I've had signed. So, going to different things, I'm like, why wait on MLB or anybody else to make change when I'm a black guy on the ground with no resources and I'm making this all happen. So, during COVID, I got a really great opportunity to really sit down and, think and ponder and see what I can do. And, this idea came along. Came along, and then, man, 3 years later, we the biggest black company in the world.
Gotcha, gotcha. So what I know we have your other partners on as well. What brought you to them? What brought your idea of bringing them on?
I guess with me, man, being in this baseball world and just being the guy I am, I'm looking for people who have the same passion as I do, right? You look for people who've done something in their past careers and really impacted the game of baseball at a high impact. And with everything that we do, I thought it would be perfect to have, Reginald Hollins, who's done such a tremendous job at Tuskegee, and one of our big sectors in the work in our organization is HBCU. So why not have one of the top HBCU coaches in the country come in and be in the part of what we do? And again, it just came through a circle. We talk about how we met a while back. Just his ace this year came from Redan, and he asked me a while back or something to invest in, man. And I, in my back of my mind, I was like, man, I told him, hold your money, man. I got some for you in the future, man. And it came back around, and he's been, my right hand man for the last 2 years. And then, Jarrell, the same type thing, man. Just finding the right people, man. We met and connected and hit it off. And then, with this company, anybody that you got involved into this company, from Jeremy Beckham to Tyrone White, who is our fashion guy over our clothing, man. Everybody has the same passion of helping kids and being the biggest ball, man. That's what we're doing, man. It's just trying to change the world.
Gotcha, gotcha. So Reggie, tell me a little bit about your background and what made you want to jump into this role.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Alex said, man, we've been knowing each other for a while through the game of baseball, and I was just looking for something to invest my money into that was more so driven on the line of passion and not necessarily a return.
Gotcha.
I wanted my return of investment to come off of success for kids. And so I saw minority baseball sprouting. And so I just had a big question. I saw that Alex was involved and, didn't quite know the lay of the land, the backstory on who was running it, but I saw Alex had some type of heavy influence. So I asked him about it. And next thing you know, he told me, hold your money. We'll talk more about it. And next thing you know, man, I was just behind the scene while I was at Tuskegee
Mm-hmm.
University, and it was a situation to where it was almost like a perfect marriage because
Mm-hmm.
some of the things I had done at Tuskegee trickled right into what the missions are for minority baseball prospects. So, at Tuskegee, I had to kind of really revitalize the program
Mm-hmm.
and put a lot of my own resources into it, and actually made it more interesting to the school and the institution. And I think that's a lot of what Alex has done with minority baseball prospect. He's reviving, minorities in the game of baseball in all sectors of the country. And so, I was doing that on a small scale. So I said, why not go ahead and impact thousands
Right.
versus 30,
Right. Right. Right.
And so Alex and I just really hit it off. He's a mastermind, a genius at, executing ideas. And I have experience. I'm have a pretty creative mindset, and I have a way with people, and I have a way with relationships. So we really make a great team. And then you have a Jarrell, who I've been knowing for a while. He's been on the ground with me. He's helped several camps at Tuskegee. So I trust him in the world of baseball. He understands growing, the game in his community. So the three of us, it's no better team. And then, like he said, the extension of Tyrone and Jeremy. So we're continuously growing our team, but for me, it was a no-brainer because it's a continuation of what I started at Tuskegee, and now just at a higher level, and more rapid rate.
Gotcha. So Jarrell, I know we grew up in the same area. So what have you seen from the time we grew up and people being interested in baseball to now to how are you impacting the youth to be able to have that will and that want to start playing baseball?
Well, for me, Fred, man, just exposure. Coming from where we from, football and basketball
Yeah.
is just key. So you don't have a lot of baseball around here. You have a lot of great baseball players, but they don't have that platform or the know-how to get to that next level. So Alex has the pedigree. He has everything. So I just been happy to be a part and be able to bring on the kids in the River Region area and get them that knowledge and that background to know like, hey, in order to get seen, you need to be with this right here. You need to be with minority baseball prospects in
Right.
order to be seen. So I've been able to hit the ground running, been able to crack the door, getting these people getting these people involved. We've been getting a lot more Montgomery kids involved, and in Alabama just period,
Yeah.
getting involved more so than ever. So we still scratching the surface, but I've been able to get out there more and more, talking to more people every day. And I'm a people person, so I love that aspect. I love that aspect of our company. I'm able to get out and reach a lot of people and just get them involved and just spread the information.
Gotcha. So, and that leads me to the events. So, like I know y'all recently just had the HBCU All Star game. So, tell me a
hmm
little bit about the idea behind the events and how did that work?
Yeah, I think I'll start on that, guys, if you don't mind. But I think it was really cool of the vision that Alex had because it set right into what I know was needed. There had never been a large national scale HBCU game, and Alex had the guts to start it out in Hoover, Alabama. A week after the SEC tournament, everybody is gung ho on the SEC. So to put those kids from HBCUs around the country in the same venue and expose them on the same platform, as the SEC kids was a dream come true. And the traction of the event just took off, man. Year two, we went from Hoover to the Atlanta Braves, the world champs.
Right.
And it doesn't get much better than that on a major league stage. And so the vision of that event is really surrounded around community as well, and teaching, turning non-baseball fans into baseball fans, and almost kind of mind tricking them, with vendors and entertainment and different community initiatives to actually have them forget that they're at a baseball game, and that's what
Right.
happened out there. So we came in contact with some amazing corporate partners, American Family Insurance, Coca-Cola, the Players Alliance, the Henry Aaron Lewis Fund actually, presented the game. So it's a building block. It was a huge building block on year two, for what's to come in the future. And I think that was my favorite part, that we're turning non-baseball fans into baseball fans.
Gotcha. 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 And so, what are some of the events that you have planned for the future?
Well, we have.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh,
Go
go
ahead,
ahead.
guys.
Go ahead.
And now
Go
we
ahead.
got a plethora of things, man. This year, this actually the end of this month, we're pushing forth our first year doing our underclass All American games, the top 25s through the 28. So you talking about eighth graders to 10th graders going to do 4 games in Gastonia. Gastonia, North Carolina, we're doing it there because Brandon Bellamy is the first black owner of the first black owner of a professional baseball team. So he has a dope stadium, man, in Gastonia, North Carolina, man. Caramon Health Park is pretty dope. And then, again, every year, really, man, everything just gets better, man. We were just at East Coast Pro, which is the top players in the world, at Hoover Met yesterday, and we couldn't stop walking because everybody was trying to ask us about our All American game that we did in Miami last year and where it's going to be at this year, man. So we had like 100 scouts last year, and the number 2 and number 4 player in in the draft this year was in that game as captains. So this year we're doing it again. We're doing it at the ballpark of the Beaches at West Palm, man, which is the minor league facility for the Houston Astros, and the Nationals. It's really dope, man. October 3rd through the 5th, and then next year we're just rolling out. We're actually rolling out softball, man, minority softball
Okay.
prospects, and we're gonna give them a whole array of events, moving from their HBCU All Star game to their girls don't have a collegiate league, man. So we're doing a women's collegiate league and then doing the All American game.
All right.
And then we're just gonna push more toward our ID camp, just so that we can focus more on finding these kids that's under the radar.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, in this month, right now, August, we're going to HBCUs and doing ID camps, and then a portion of what we make from those ID camps, we're giving it back to the HBCUs. So
Okay.
um, we're really just, our big thing now, we're just plugging in. Baseball education, and getting into those communities, and impacting the communities where we know that they need to be successful in the game of baseball and life.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So I was reading something that said that MLB has the lowest percentage of black baseball players in the last 3 decades, and it's down. I think it's like 7% of black, and then
Absolutely.
38% of people of color. So, like, what from your perspective, what is the reasoning why of why blacks aren't gravitating towards the sport?
Um, I guess I can take for me, being a high school coach for 12 years, man. High school baseball for blacks is just kind of isn't really good. You got read-in, and then everything else is kind of tough. Just when I'm talking about competing for a state championship, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean, and being at the higher pinnacle, and some of that is fundamentals, and getting into those communities early, into
Mm-hmm.
little league, and really harping on fundamentals. In football, you can do daddy ball, and the biggest person going to be successful. That doesn't work in baseball. So a lot of times the trickle down effect is in middle school they don't have the skills and they get hard and they quit. Right. So I know a big thing where we're trying to do with minority baseball prospects is get into that youth space and really horn in with our resources, and jump on fundamentals. And then really understanding that, probably 70% of the draftees in the who got drafted this year is from colleges, probably 80%. Excuse the
Mhm.
numbers, it's rough. But to go to college and play baseball at a higher, at a D1 or a Tuskegee, you got to have grades, man. And with football and basketball, you can kind of skate away from having, you have 2.5, 2.3, 2.4, and kind of get in and still have a full scholarship. Baseball, academics is key. And you're not going to get a full ride. So the academic part is really what's going to get you an opportunity to go to college and not have to pay $1 million. So really harping in on baseball and education. Once we can kind of tackle the educational side and making sure that we're just as successful in the classroom as it is in the baseball field, I think then we'll see more numbers in college, and then you'll see more numbers getting drafted out of the pros to the
Gotcha.
pros.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
And I think just to piggyback off what he said, because he covered the majority of my thought process as well. But it's also those resources.
Hmm.
This game is very expensive, and that's why I love what we do from a nonprofit
Right.
standpoint.
Right.
We give back a lot of resources and
Right.
time, to really help the deficit
Yep.
that's there. Because you talk about travel ball. I mean, you coming out the pocket 3-4 grand before you even pay for a hotel or anything,
Yep.
on the food
Yep.
side. So I mean, that right there in itself will price you out.
Yep.
And then on another scale, what we try to do is at every event we try to take these elite athletes and marriage them with the community kids.
Hmm.
And if they're able to see and touch these kids and have someone to look up and inspire to be like, it'll grow that number at the top as well.
Yep. Now you hit it right there because I had some more research I had did. It said that baseball, like to play year round, is up to 4K in this article that I was reading or whatever. It said
Hmm.
it's up to 4K, and
Easy
then the
4K.
average white family makes 171K, but the average black family only makes 17K a year. So if you look at that discrepancy, then you that's right there pricing yourself out of, oh well, I'm not going towards baseball, it costs too much, right? So
Absolutely.
probably what the average black family is thinking as well. So that's a good point.
Especially when you
Yeah.
look at the aspect of it as you got a single mom with
Yep.
probably 3 4 boys.
Yep.
Yep.
That's a lot of money to
Yep.
play baseball versus basketball or football.
Yep.
And
Yep.
another way to piggyback, because Alice hit it on the head. You can't get no better than that answer on both answers. But
Hmm.
that also you have a lot of youth coaches that's out there on the ground level that didn't play baseball
Hmm.
or don't like baseball, so they discourage little Ray Ray,
Yep.
little Johnny on, hey man, you don't need to be playing baseball, you need to go into football or get this basketball. So that's another reason too.
No, that makes sense because like if they're just doing it, if they're just coaching just to coach, they're not really passionate about them playing the sport. And then also, like you said, if their dad didn't play the sport or whatever father figure in their life didn't play the sport, then they're not going to drive them towards that sport. So that makes sense.
Absolutely.
That makes sense.
Absolutely.
No, for sure.
So what are some of the I guess the ideas? I know you talked about it a little bit with the high school, but at the youth level, right? So what are some of the things that y'all are doing? Because I know you said you're giving back through the nonprofits. What are some of the are there like smaller camps that y'all are going to start doing?
Um, yes. So really, for every big event that we have, we do a kids clinic. So when we came to Atlanta, not just for those HBCU guys, man, we had over 900 kids at our kids clinic,
That's nice.
right? So the big thing about drawing the attraction for baseball is also getting them to understand that it's fun and that it's cool and that the people who's playing it is really cool. So, we really, if you look at baseball, you really don't know the superstars, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the things, and us partnering with Adidas too, with clothing and making it look cool. I think all of it just a marriage of how we gonna continue to grow the game. Again, just going back, there's no superstars of what we have because you know if you're thinking about back in the days, Barry Bonds and
Yeah.
Deion Sanders and those different guys were surreal. Even Sammy Sosa, when them guys with him bum, they was on them roids, man. Everybody
Yeah.
was baseball was crazy. You know what
Right.
I mean?
Yep.
You go back to today, I can go probably every elementary school, unless it's a kid that plays baseball. They can't tell me one player is in a major league, black or white,
All right.
right? It's part of promotion, and it's part of what we're doing to promote the game of baseball. It's really not at the apex of what it should be. But with our social media page and what we're trying to do is really hone in on getting it visible again. And then the long term goal is, the DR and Puerto Rico are, dominating the MLB because they have academies and things like that that can really hone in on, teaching kids what they need to know and give them, if you give me 12 to 15 hours with a kid every day, he's going to be good at baseball and he's going to be good educationally. So the more we can kind of control the situation at the highest level and the lowest level, we feel like we can make a big impact.
Gotcha. That makes sense. That makes sense. So when I know you said they got academies out there in the DR and stuff like that. How did those get? Did they get funded by, like, I guess, baseball pro prospects or something like
Major
that, or
league,
how did that happen?
major league academies. So
Okay.
Yeah,
so team
yeah,
affiliates, they place academies across the water.
Ah. Okay.
Yep.
yeah.
So go ahead, Alex.
No, no, it's more of a I ain't gonna say cheap labor, um, but it's an opportunity for them to get players at a lower rate. Starting off now they're getting paid, big bucks.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it was an opportunity for them to get players younger and pay them less and put more into the minor league system. And at the end of the day, if you give up any kid that's hungry, everything gonna differentiate at some point. But you give every kid the opportunity to do minimal education and go full time sports, and that's all they live and breathe.
Yeah.
You're gonna have freaks that come out there, man. So with MLB, they invested probably every team in MLB has an academy in those foreign regions. So,
Yeah.
um, you know,
Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Absolutely.
So, what does that look like for us in the U.S.? Like, would that be you all creating that academy and then moving forward like that? I guess separate from the MLB, or how does that look?
yeah, for us, man, it's just giving us full autonomy to kind of control everything that we know that needs to be changed,
Gotcha.
right? Even if it's starting off with, the big thing right now is prep schools, right?
Yep.
Everybody want to go to prep school to reclass and different things like that. But for us, we'll love to kind of start younger in the elementary sense into like a charter situation where, it's education and baseball and just other sports also. But we're really going to horn in on baseball and then education and making sure once a kid come out of the MVP Academy or whatever we end up calling it, we're going to know they're going to be plus academically. It's not going to be a problem with them going to college and being, exceptional in the academic piece, and going to be, successful in their communities at the end of the day. But their baseball fundamentals is going to be, off the charts. They're going to be successful in the game of baseball also. So once we're able to tackle those three things, and then the
Yep.
financial part is non-existent because we're taking everything cost efficiently. We're going to be able to change the game with the game of baseball around the country, not just in the South, but kind of controlling everything around every region.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense. So with that being said, I know we talked about some of the things with the funding and how that works, but have you all gotten to the NIL space or looking to get into the NIL space to because bringing in revenue that kind of getting the kids to want to play that's one of those avenues to get revenue.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's definitely a bridge that we're figuring out right now. You kind of have to digest it a little bit.
Yep.
Let's just kind of lay back, see how it's working on the platforms for colleges and amateur players, period, and just kind of make it fit into our perimeter.
Right.
So yeah, we are digesting it and coming up with some ways to kind of tap into that NIL because it's a huge market
Yep.
and it's a game changer and we impact so many kids and I think it's really going to change the game for us and the kids and their families.
Yeah, because that's what I was thinking. Like, just as far as the ability for minority prospects to be able
Mhm.
to capitalize it, because when you think about the getting them out there and getting them exposure, one of
Absolutely.
the ways to do that is to be able to bring in money and bring them in other ways to get money. So
Oh, for sure.
yeah,
And I wanted to say this real quick, Fred and fellas, going back to what we was talking about. I don't think you know about our mascot, Fred. I don't know if you did in the
Yeah,
research, but we have our own official mascot.
Okay.
His name is Swaggy. So
Okay.
our
that
superstar. He's our
that's
superstar.
been,
There you
that's
go.
been our superstar to draw our kids and our youth
Mm,
into
That
the
makes
game
sense.
of baseball. We gave them cards at the HBCU All Star game, like trading cards, what we had
Yep.
when we was small. So
Yep.
they got a chance to take those home.
Okay.
We gave them swaggy T-shirts. So I know a lot of kids that they got those shirts, and I've been speaking with parents that say the kids don't want to take those shirts off, or they
No,
wear their baseball part where they go. So
that's
we've
dope.
been touching that. We've been touching that part very good.
No, that's
And
definitely dope.
and if you see Swaggy, man, he's bigger than a mascot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the reason Swaggy is his name is because we bring swag, flash, flair,
Yep.
and style to the game, right? While playing at a high level, and that's what Swaggy stands for. But Swaggy is also going to be, you know, that representation that navigates the message for us,
Right.
teaches the history, and
Yep.
like Jarrell said, he's going to impact that kid and give that kid some hope and say, hey, man,
Yep.
I can be Swaggy.
Right. Right.
Yep, you can be Swaggy on the diamond, and that's what we want.
Yep.
That's what we want to marriage right there. So, nah, Jarrell, thanks for bringing that up because
Yeah,
Swaggy's
that's
an important piece. He's an important piece to teach in this game.
no, that's super important because, like you said, you want to get them at a young age, and at that age, that's when they are most impressionable, and they're
hmm
gonna they have to find something that they're gonna attach themselves to. So that's definitely dope.
Quick story too. We were the team. We were coming from Detroit, right? We were in the airport, and shove Alex. I said, "Hey, give me a swaggy card, man." And he gave me a swaggy card. I saw a family with a young man, and I approached him. I introduced myself, and I said, "Hey, man, do you play ball?" He said, "Oh, basketball, football." I said, "Okay, well, man, you may need to think about baseball." And so I said, "Well, here's a card, man. Here's a card. This is our mascot, Swaggy." And I walked away and I kind of overheard the conversation. His mom was asking to see the card. The kid would not give it up. The kid said, "Mom, I want to play baseball or look into it just because of that card." And
Right.
I that was a test just to kind of see how powerful Swaggy is. And yeah, Swaggy's going to be a bad boy, man.
No, that's dope. That's definitely dope. That's definitely dope.
hmm
Have y'all? I don't know how familiar y'all are with NFTs, but have y'all thought about doing NFT around Swaggy and stuff like that?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Tyrone, our creative director, that's
Okay.
all up his alley. Yeah,
Okay.
he's into NFTs and you know the making of Swaggy's career basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's all on that, man. So we got some cool things coming down the line, some things we pitched to certain companies. So we
Yeah.
look out for Swaggy
Yeah.
guys.
That sounds like something that can definitely grow with the company,
hmm
and I think that's a dope idea.
Absolutely.
Well, I know we're coming up at the end of our time, but I definitely want to talk about the future and whatever else you all want to leave with the people. So I'll leave the floor open for y'all.
Yeah, man, we just want to get the people to continue to follow us and get an opportunity just to see how big we've grown in 3 years. And I know a lot of people really not accustomed with high school baseball and college baseball, but we want to really make it attractive again. Just like the Negro Leagues, man, when everybody was really excited when the Negro Leagues came in town, man, it was the biggest black business at that point in time because everything had to go black.
Yep.
And they came into town, you talking about 30, 40,000 in the stadium, black businesses was booming, restaurants, clubs, everything for that whole weekend was, the apex of that city. So that what we're just trying to bring back, from our youth space to our, when we go to Gastonia, we're trying to pack it out.
Yep.
We're bringing 120 kids. We're talking about, economic dollars into that city that
Yep.
haven't been there. Same thing that we did to Atlanta and just everywhere that we go going into West Palm. So our biggest thing, man, is just trying to impact the whole world with this game of baseball, and then just continuing to grow. And we just want everybody just to continue to follow us on, at MVP Takeover, man, and just get a chance to sit down and just watch what we post, man. You'll really get intrigued about the game of baseball.
Love it. Love it. Love it. What about you, Reggie?
For me, man, I just really think that we're teaching again. Um, at the same time, we're teaching. This is nothing new. I think it's a myth that this is not our sport.
Hmm.
Because again, like he said, the Negro leagues were well established,
Right.
and a lot of Negro League greats hold records as they're combining Major League and Negro League records right now. So the history just kind of shows us that this is what we do.
Right.
So I want to get back to what we do. From a standpoint of playing baseball from a young age, because every kid in the country started playing baseball first back in the day because that was the first organized sport. So when you do the history of it, whether they're panning out as a professional football
Hmm.
player, professional basketball player, their first sport was probably baseball.
Right.
So I just kind of want to get back to the root of that, man. And I think the things that this company embodies and the journeys that we're taking, we're on the way. So you guys just continue to support us, and like you said, follow us on social medias at MVP Takeover on all platforms.
Cool. Cool. You want to close us out, Drew?
Yeah, man. For me, I can't end it no better than what they said, man. But like for me, getting back still out here with these youth, getting the city of Montgomery, my city, getting behind myself and behind Alex and Reggie and our company, and really, supporting, doing all they can to support us, help us grow the game of baseball through these kids and through these youth. That's my why. I love to be a part. I tell them all the time. I appreciate them for letting me be a part of their team. I appreciate you for bringing us on and letting us talk more and
Yeah, thank you.
spread more,
Thank you.
spread more of our, spread more of what we got going on. Spreading the conversation and just spreading the wealth of baseball, man. That's what I want to do, and we gonna continue to do it.
No, I appreciate y'all for coming on. This was definitely a great conversation to have. Like I said, love what y'all are doing. So it was a great conversation to have based on what I do on this podcast. So I appreciate y'all, and I look forward to seeing how y'all grow. If there's anything else I can do to help with that, just let me know, and I'll be in touch.
Absolutely. No, thank you, man. Thank you for the platform and thank you for your time and what you do for sports.
All right, thanks,
Yeah,
man.
for sure.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
All right.
All right.